today and tomorrow, I'm going to paint and detail the air wall. The reason I'm calling it the air wall is because my dust collector and my air compressor are going to be mounted on that section, but the wall is going to be a lot more than that. We have lumber storage racks going in right here. We have things going above the door, and there's probably more electrical conduit and boxes going on this wall right in this area than any of the other walls. So this is going to be a real complicated, busy wall, but I can't do any of that until I get this painted and detailed. So I'm going to try to make this as short of a video as possible. I'm going to start out with these right here, get these shaped in and puttied up, and then sand this opening. I got a mask up there and get this cut in and primed. I have 2 days to get this completely primed and painted, so we better get started. All done with the door. That was pretty much the hardest part of the detailing. Now for the putsy part, I'm going to have to tape around this door. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. We're black on the outside, black and red, and I want the door to be black on the outside. I'm going to spray paint it this summer, but yeah, I guess we'll go white from the wall all the way back to here. But should I do that right now? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could do that. I have to clean this up a little better though. We have some of the squeeze out from the foam still on there. This is going to get caulked right here, and then if I put my tape behind this and curl it over, yeah, might as well while we got this nice weather. Okay, got to do a little bit of hand sanding up in the corner. That's the first I seen that, but looking good. So I got to get this masked off and that edge up there, then I can start cutting in. It's day 2, and I really wasn't going to record any of this, but I wanted to show you the difference between, well, about a third of the wall being caulked and the rest not being caulked. It makes a big difference. This is just primer on here. I'm going to be putting another coat of primer on and then a finish coat after that. And this stuff here, that is spackle. That's that stuff that's pink when you put it on and it'll turn white as it dries. I'm going to need to come back and lightly sand off the edges on that stuff. But what happened is we had, about that much in the bottom of a container from working on the tiny house, and it was starting to dry out. So I figured I'd just use it all up on this wall because there was some really bad areas in here. So that's what that stuff is. So I'm going to continue to caulk this. This is taking quite a while because I got to keep going up and down on the scaffold. But I'll get this caulked by the end of the day today. And then I'm going to let this dry until tomorrow morning. Then I'll come back and do the last coat of primer and then wait an hour or two. And then hopefully I'll be able to come back and put one coat of the final paint on there and we'll be done. I completely underestimated how much time this was going to take. I was hoping it would take 2 days, but here we are on day 3 and I'm getting ready for the second coat of paint. So it's probably going to take 4 days, twice as long as I was hoping, but that's okay. This is an important wall and I'm going to get her all painted up nice and then we'll start putting all the stuff on there. You can see where it was cut in around the corner and how much different it looks in the field. On this wall, I'm going to put 2 coats of primer and then go at it with the paint. On this wall, I put on 1 coat of primer and then 1 coat of paint, and you could still see through it like that. So I had to put another coat of paint on, and I put an extra coat around the window. I'm hoping that all I need to do is put a second coat of primer on this and 1 coat of paint, because the paint costs twice as much as the primer. I'm hoping I can do it like that. It's going to look nice, and I can move on to start mounting the compressor and all that stuff. I believe it's going to work out that way. It's covered pretty good right now, and I think the second coat of primer alone is going to make it look dramatically better. But we're not going to find out until we start doing it. So let me get that done, and I'll get back with you at the end. And there you have it. In the end, I put 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of paint on. Once I had the single coat of paint on, I only had like, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a gallon of paint left, and I didn't want that drying out. And once you have a coat of paint on, you can put another coat on real thin, and it works really well. So it's looking really good. Let me show you what we're going to be doing with this. We have 2 uprights. This is what the dust collector is going to be mounted to. Those are right there. And I actually had to run to town to get those yesterday, and a bunch of other stuff for the upcoming stuff, which is still in the bags over there. A lot of stuff going on. But we're going to get these mounted to the wall. I'm going to slowly get them primed, roll them over, prime them, paint them, and then drill them out, and then mount these to the wall. Then I'm going to paint the dust collector itself, just that top part. We got some rust on it, little rusty here and there. So I'm going to paint this with galvanizing paint and kind of rejuvenate that. The rest of the stuff is just fine. And I'm going to touch up this motor as well. Might as well have it looking nice now that we're putting it on a nice wall there. So all that stuff is coming up. But first, I got to make some Craftsman molding for my daughter's tiny house. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have a video next week or not. Probably will. Anyways, we got conduit here, we got a junction box, we have our triple switches. We're going to have 3 banks of lights up here, each one on its own 3-way switch. The other switches are going to be right by the door over there, and these are going to go right here. There's going to be another 2 switches right here for the outdoor lights. That's going to be a little bit difficult to wire, but I do not want to use the remote control stuff. I'm going to hardwire that. I got my reasons for that. We won't get into that right now. Okay, we have a shutoff right here for the air compressor, and I'm going to put some outlets at the bottom, 220 outlets, that I can run my machinery on temporarily. In the end, they're going to have wires coming up and down to them, but I want to get their position exactly where I want it before I do that. So we're going to be running the machines and my updated dust collector on a big extension cord until I figure out exactly where everything's going. Then I'm going to run my duct work to them and my electricity to them. So that'll be pretty interesting. Once I get that all figured out, these outlets will be switched over to 115 outlets, which is fairly easy to do. You just take one leg of them and add a common, and then you have 115 volts. So this is the basic setup. We're going to have long wood racks right here. We're going to have cutoff racks right here for shorter stuff. And we're going to have some wood storage up in here as well. Stuff that is really nice, you don't want to throw out, but you're not going to be using very often. You'll have to get at that stuff with a ladder. All right, that'll wrap it up. Next time I'm working on this, I believe I'll be painting the dust collector, getting it ready to set up. So make sure you stick around and watch for that.